Good evening, Council. My name is Edward Lefty Grimes. With sativacross.org. We're a 501c3 here in New Jersey advocating for disabled rights and cannabis patients' rights. 84 Hanover Road, East Hanover. And I'm up here a lot. I have cousins up here. I'm always up here for the summer. And I'm here to advocate for medical cannabis in your town. I understand there's a public meeting coming up soon, and I appreciate that you guys are trying to educate yourselves on the subject first before you make a decision. And I'd like to talk about medical cannabis. It's helped me greatly. There's in Morris County, there's no dispensaries. I have to drive a half hour. And I'd like you to consider the people in wheelchairs first. And I'm going to say something, and you're not going to be able to unhear it or unsee it. But when you see this one step, a step is a wall to someone in a wheelchair. And I see this all over towns everywhere, and I see it here in Pompton Lakes. What really triggered me today, because I'm Christian, was seeing the Catholic education place with no wheelchair access. And I'm told as a Christian to put the last first. The last have to be put first. And I was shocked to see that, so I walked around the back. And I saw there's a handicap parking spot in the back. I said, oh, okay, well, but there's no ramp. And I'm like, well, why didn't that get followed through on? I mean, they put a handicap parking place, but nobody followed through to make sure the person in a wheelchair can get into those stores. And that's what we need to do as Christians. I know there's Christians here. Why there was a prayer that was supposed to be read at the beginning. Did I miss it, or was there no prayer read today? They don't do it? Is there a reason why? I like that. I like that you had a prayer. And I'd like to say something about that. Genesis 1, chapter 29. God said, here I have given you every deadly pharmaceutical drug. Oh, no, God didn't say that. God said, here I give you every seed-bearing plant that is on the entire earth, and every tree with seed-bearing fruit. Let them serve as food for you, and to every wild animal of the earth, and to every flying creature of the heavens, and to everything moving on the earth, in which there is life. I have given all green vegetation for food, and it was so. And if you talk about Ezekiel 47, chapter 12, all sorts of trees for food will grow on both banks of the stream. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruitage fail. Each month they will bear new fruit, because the water from them flows from the sanctuary. Their fruitage will serve as food, and their leaves for healing. And I believe in leaves for healing. I was on OxyContin and Roxicodone and gabapentin and Valium for 10 years. I have an artificial disc, L4-L5. I have a Fusion L5S1. The scar here is a 2-level cervical I had a couple of years ago. They had me on 90 milligrams of Roxy every 3 hours. They were trying to kill me. It was very hard to get off of those drugs. I wasn't abusing them, but I was doing what my doctor told me, and I was actually killing myself with these drugs. And it was not easy getting off those drugs. It took me 10 months. And at the time, I didn't realize that I could have been using tinctures and oils and even suppositories to get off that. And it made it easier on myself. But no, I made it harder. I just tried to smoke a big bag of weed, and that made it harder. And it took me 4 times. I wound up in the fetal position on the floor 3 times. The 4th time, I finally did it. I titrated down from 90 to 45 to 30 to 15 to 4, and I got off those pills. And I was afraid 2 years ago when I had this cervical fusion that I'd be back on opiates again. I was like, I don't want to go back on opiates. I was a mess. I was a zombie. I was drooling. I didn't like the way it made me feel. So when I had this cervical fusion, I got suppositories. I got cannabis tinctures. I got edibles, and I made it easier on myself. And I took 0 opiates for this. 0. I shocked myself. I didn't think I would do it. And that's the power of God right there. God's medicine it helps so many different conditions. It helps so many different people. And I wish that you consider medical in your town. And this is a horrible thing, but I call it a wheelchair tax. There's a 2% wheelchair tax that they're putting on us. A cancer tax. A tax on multiple sclerosis. A tax on our diseases. It's an inevitable tax, but if you're going to tax us, please give us representation for that taxation and put wheelchair access in everywhere. That's all we ask. One step is not a bad fix. The hardware store has a step, 2 steps, one step, which is a fixable problem. The edible arrangements has a couple steps, but they're all fixable problems. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's a bag of cement, really. And if you spent the day in a wheelchair, you'd understand how hard it is to get around in a wheelchair. We can't get our medicine. Someone in a wheelchair doesn't have money to go in and get an Uber and then go get their medicine. That's an additional charge. So just please consider the sick and the dying when you talk about this. And we'll talk again more, and I'd love to talk more about this with you. The person that started this 501c3 last year died of cancer, and he used to go to these council meetings with us. Yeah, chemo bag strapped to him. That's how important this was to him. And to fight for other people that are in their beds right now, suffering in bed. And as Christians, let's put the last first. And I'm going to read something from 100 years ago. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Thank you.
Thank you for your information. Like you said, we will be having a in-person meeting on marijuana the next 2 weeks, and we welcome input from anyone. And that's why we're having the meeting, so the council and myself can get educated and to see what we can do with that. So
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Please step up.
Evening, Mayor, Council President, Council. My name is Chief Giordano, Blackwood, New Jersey. I'm here as a representative of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, UFCW Local 152.
Just need an address.
Oh, I'm sorry, 57 Argyle Avenue, Blackwood, New Jersey.
Where?
Blackwood, New Jersey, sorry. I'm here as a representative of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. UFCW is a national labor union of 1.3 million hardworking families across the United States, Canada, and the territories. We are the official labor union which represents cannabis workers, both adult use and medical, from seed to sale. And I want to thank Pompton Lakes for having this conversation, being open-minded. I want to thank Councilman Bennett and Councilwoman Riker. I read an article where they were open-minded to cannabis, and I think that's great. And I want to thank you for that because it provides good jobs. In New Jersey, we have the strongest labor law in cannabis around the country right now. Currently, Connecticut, Virginia just took our labor law and passed cannabis, and they used our labor law. So we're ahead of times here. What does that mean? Union wages, good benefits, sick time, vacation time, paternity pay, retirement, and just basic work rights. A lot of the workers that work in cannabis are workers that have degrees in horticulture, botany, chemistry, and even the front end where the dispensary is, it's folks with PhDs, there's folks that are pharmacists. So these are not hippie stoners as HBO and Hollywood has.
I just got left because are you saying there's guys selling marijuana? I'm not saying because it's marijuana, but they're PhDs?
Yes.
I would think they may be doing something else.
Well,
I don't know.
the reality is these pharmacists and folks that have doctorates are making $100,000 a year.
Okay.
So it's real money. The average dispensary makes between $20,000 to $30,000 a day right now in the medical program, and that's only with 106,000 registered cannabis patients. Imagine when it's open to the public, the amount of tax revenue that come in, the 2% tax. Mr. Grimes is right. That tax can go towards other things. I see this as a very family-oriented town. I look at your census, it's a working class town. Per capita income is $34,000, with males making females making around 50,000, and males making about $10,000 more than that. So there's an opportunity here for growth of a working class, for women to get involved, especially in New Jersey, where we have Stockton and Rutgers that are investing heavily in cannabis. We're working with those universities to create an official union apprenticeship program. So just like carpenters and iron workers and steel workers, these workers are treated just the same way. They're no different. They're no different. The other thing on top of that is the building trades are also involved. In the New Jersey law, there's project labor agreements in there. So IBEW, carpenters, steam fitters will be building these places as well. So the folks that live here that are union members will be getting those jobs. And that's good for the local economy. Also, that tax money can go towards your Main Street, which I heard. I grew up, it's actually you have nice buildings there. You really do. It's a lot of opportunity here. Cannabis is not a cheap commodity. Very expensive, more expensive than alcohol. So the folks who you'll be attracted have to have cash. There is no credit for this. So you will attract a different type of residents also who want to live here and raise a family because they're all educated. What I would suggest is check out the Bayonne ordinance. Bayonne did a great job. They went through, they looked at the different stats, and it's a very conservative ordinance for being such a big city. They're only allowing 2 facilities in the whole city, which is crazy, but at least they're making the effort. And in that, they have standards, environmental standards, labor standards, community standards. What have they done in Colorado? What have they done in California? Have they been good to those communities here? You have the power to decide that. You also have the power to decide if you want a dispensary, what type of dispensary do you want? Do you want them to only sell flower, do you want to sell edibles? You have that opportunity to do that. The law gives a lot of power to townships to make these decisions. And I would suggest that you please look at the Bayonne ordinance. I would also suggest if you want to go on a tour, the Garden State Dispensary, which was the first, the reason I would offer this one is because it was the first one in the union out of the original 6, since John Corzine signed it into law many, many years ago. I've been involved for a long time in this. I would suggest that you come on a tour. Check it out and see the sale. Look at the workers. Look at the process. Look at the security. Look at how it's ran. It's more efficient and more secure than either CVS or Rite Aid will ever be. That's a guarantee. Okay, great. So in closing, I would please suggest that you allow cannabis, whether it's adult use or medical. I would also ask that when you do your ordinance, that you put these standards into your ordinance. Make these employers work to come into your town. Make sure on day 1 that they're going to pay a good wage. Make sure on day 1 that when they decide to operate in here, that the build out will be done by union trades labor. And make sure from that point to see the sale, that they're going to be unionized, treat people good, make sure that there's a way for economic value for the community here, and they will do that. We have good employers that I know are not only just small state employers, but small business operators that would love to do a good thing for Pompton Place. So thank you so much for your time. Oh, and P.S. your bathrooms are really cool. The fact that you have to leave your hand and the doors open, that's pretty cool stuff.
Federal funded.
Pretty cool.
What's the name of the union?
United Food and Commercial Workers Union. It's UFCW, Local 152. I'll leave my business cards.
Yeah, they look for, okay, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your update. I'm gonna say the same thing, we're gonna have a public session. This council does wanna get educated, so we're gonna, get educated on what we wanna do. It's not an easy decision, as you know, you guys are all aware, there's noise on both sides. So, that's why we're gonna have the meeting and see where we go from there. So thank you. Anyone else in the public? See no one, can have a motion to close the public session. Council President Devine? All in favor? Against? Okay. We have no bills and claims, consent agenda. Does anybody need a consent agenda? Oh, sorry. Okay. Approval of minutes. Have a motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes.
Should we get stoned?
Yeah.
Let's go get stoned.
All in favor? Against? Petitions and consent agenda.
All right, me and Hugh are going to go take a break. We might come back. We might come back. We might not. Who knows? We don't know. I think we made our point. I don't think we even need to come back. But we could. I don't know, whatever you want to do. I want to come back next week or whenever it is for the forum. So it went well. Of course it did.
It did. It went very well.
We're still live.
It went very well. And they were very nice. They didn't treat us like Wayne is right next door.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know.
Wayne is right next
they're
door.
terrible.
And these people were totally different,
Yeah.
folks. Totally different.
Yeah.
Much nicer.
They're human.
They were human, right. They were human. They didn't treat us like crap.
Where'd you park? Down there?
Street.
All right, let me get my stuff. Put my Bible away. I broke out the Bible tonight. Yeah, that's how serious it got. All right, see you all later. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.